Hi everybody, welcome back to Stamping School. This is a cool card. I had a request to make this Pinwheel Tower card. I watched a video from Sam from Mixed Up Crafts, and so once I got the basic idea of it, I started playing around, and I'll show you 4 different sizes and then a few things that I did to make it a little bit easier and lighter and not so bulky. So the first thing that I did is I started playing around with just some old cardstock, some scraps of paper, and I quickly realized that the little column in the middle, which is called the tower basically, it doesn't matter how big or small it is, it makes exactly the same size when it's folded. Isn't that crazy? So I thought if I made it bigger, that my card would be bigger, but it's not really the case. So no matter how big of a little square or tower you have in the middle, they end up being the same. The only difference is that you've got less paper here because this is deeper. All right, so once I figured that out, then I thought, well, let's try and do lots of different sizes. So I want to do a note card size, which is 3.5 by 5 when it's folded. A2 regular, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when it's folded, and then an A7, which is 5 by 7, and that's probably my favorite one because you've got a lot of paper to work with and it's a little bit larger. And then I'll also show you a slimline version, and I'll show you a really easy way to figure out the sizes that you need. All right, the first one I'm going to show you is a regular A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, the normal size, that will fit in just your regular envelope. And so the way that I figured out, I kind of worked backwards on it, and I'll show you what that looks like with these pieces. Okay, that's going to be for the column, and you need 4 pieces that are all exactly the same size, and it's 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. And the reason why that is because when you put these two, you pick 2 of them together, that equals 5 1/2. And that's how I figured out. No matter what you do, if you always have a 1-inch column, this is going to work. So if you want to do a regular size, you need 4 pieces, 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. And then you're going to need a piece that's 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And it's nice if you have 4 1/2, but it gets kind of confusing if you're doing it for a class or something. So the reason why we're just going to do a little 1/4-inch tab on this. This is going to make your column. Now, what I found was this is very bulky using cardstock, and I think most people use cardstock here, and it is quite thick and bulky. But if you use designer paper, or just copy paper is going to be too light, but designer paper is just about right. And let me show you what it looks like. Here's this one. Let me make my background black again so you can see. That's designer paper in there, and it's not bulky at all. I mean, it's going to be a little bulky because you've got 4 panels, but it's nothing like using the cardstock. So that's my first tip that I figured out, that designer paper is really the way to go. So on a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, you're going to score it at 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and 4 inch. Whether you do that on a scoreboard or your paper cutter, you're just going to stick it in and score it at every 1 inch, and you've got a little tab left over, and that's what you're going to glue. So we're going to glue this, and it's going to make our little column. Fold it together like this, and there's your column. Just like that. Now, the height on it is going to be 4 1/4. All of these are 4 1/4 because the card is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 when it's folded, okay? All right, we're getting there. So now this goes together super easy. You're going to take one of these panels and you're going to glue it to each section around. So you're going to put some tape here and glue that right to your score line or your seam. I kind of highlighted it in red so you'd see it. Okay, and then you can fold that over, and you can do the same thing. You're just going to work your way around, which is why they call it the pinwheel. See, tape this on. Okay, move it around. Tape it down. You're putting glue on the whole panel, right, the whole 1-inch piece. Tape it, and we'll do it on this last one right here. And tape it. So now you've got glued down, and then all of these guys are freestanding. Isn't that cool? So when it folds flat, it's now 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Right, so that's what that one looks like. And decorating it is really fun. This one I did Christmas themed. So it can start here. I can open it here. And what's fun is you've got this little piece here. So these are 2 3/4. So this is just a 2.5 inch panel. And then this little guy, I think it's a 1.5 inch panel. So you're just gonna, put your little panels on. So Merry Christmas. And here's a cute little tag they can use. Ho, ho, ho. And here, this is where I'm actually going to sign it. I can put another tag here. I can put a gift card here. I can leave this panel white and I can sign it here. And here's another one. Isn't that fun? All right. So that's the A2 size. Now, this one is also the A2 size. I just did it portrait, so it's still 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but there's really not much you can do with it. It's too skinny to really do much of anything. I did wood grain on it just playing around. What you could do, I suppose, is you could put a message this way and kind of do it like this. Nobody says you have to open it from left to right. You can go up and down. But this one is a little bit harder to work with. Still the same 1 inch column, but when it's folded, see, you still want it to fit in that envelope. So that one wasn't as good. Okay, let me show you a slim line too. So the slim line, so we still have our little 1 inch column, same exact thing. It's 4 inches tall and it makes a 9 inch long card. So that will fit into a slim line. So the same thing, I've got 4 1/2 inch wide panels. 4 1/2 plus 4 1/2 is 9. So that's how I figured out how to make my 9 inch long card. So that's going to be kind of fun. I'll do something with that. Now this one is the little mini. This is the note card. So it's going to start happy birthday, treat yourself. And there's a little money holder back in here. 3 1/2 by 5 is a note card. So if this card needs to be 5 inches long, when it's folded, then our panels need to be, 2 of them need to be 2 1/2 and 2 1/2 equals 5 inches. So all of the panels are 2 1/2 inches by 3 1/2 inches tall. So that will make my 3 1/2 by 5. So you need 4 of those. Same exact system. And the same little 1 inch column, which this one is 1 inch. You score it at the 1 inch and it's 3 1/2 inches tall. So there it is. All right, now let me show you the 5 by 7, which I think is my favorite. Here is the 5 by 7. So it's 5 inches tall and it's about 7 inches wide. This one I actually scallop the edges and I'll show you how I measured that using the pansy paper. So it's happy birthday. And then this, the little things you do make such a big difference. Wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you. That's that pansy stamp set, all of it. And this one, love you much. And then this is my pull-out tag, which I'm going to sign. So it's really fun. I really like this size. It feels substantial. It feels like you're giving them something, a really good gift. Now, I started out with this one just playing around. Same 1 inch little column. And I started by doing the scallops. I tried it on white paper first. So let me show you how I did the scallops. Well, actually, let me show you how I do the column first. We'll do the column first. So you need to have 4 1/2 inches wide by 5 inches tall. And that's going to give us a little 1/2 inch right there. And you want to do that in the designer paper. And that's what I did here, designer paper, so that it really keeps it nice and light. But here's what it looks like on white cardstock. So you're going to score 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. You got a 1/2 inch left over for glue. All right, put your glue right here and then fold that over and then just fold that flat. All right, so then there's your column. And of course it is 5 inches tall because our card is 5 inches tall. All right, so there's the column. Now, if our card is 7 inches wide, and if we do the math, if it's 7 inches wide divided by 2, we need a 3 1/2 and a 3 1/2 panel. 3 1/2 and 3 1/2 is 7. So you need 4 of those panels like that. And that makes your 5 by 7 card. If you decide you want to do these scallops like this, you want to have a piece of paper that's 4 inches by 5 inches tall, and score a line on the half so you can use that as a registration. And take this die, this is from the Contours die, I believe, the Contours bundle. And I did this one so they were both off, kilter a little off this. I don't like that as well. But it doesn't fit exactly perfect this way either. You gotta take a little notch off here and here, so you decide. So you're gonna butt the edge of this die up with that score line on all 4 pieces and run that through. Or if you have a border punch, a scallop border punch, that would be fantastic. So you can just run that through on all your panels to make your scallop panels. If you don't want to do the scallops, then they're all 3.5 inches. All right, so here we go, one more time. So one panel goes on here, and the next one, and just glue it down well so it doesn't pop up. People are going to be playing with it a lot. I'm just using the regular seal, that works great. You can use the liquid glue. The Tombow Mono was not as strong because this is kind of a heavy-duty card, but if you use enough, it'd be okay. All right, and then one more right here. You don't have to use the sticky strip or the tear and tape. It doesn't require that much. Okay, there. And remember, you're going to do the designer paper for the column to make it lighter. So that will make your 5x7. So when I cut my designer paper from the pansy paper, this is 3 inches by 5, and this is 2 inches by 5. If you follow the link under the video to my blog, there is a PDF with measurements, and I'll have this project with pictures on there on a PDF for you with everything that I used and all the measurements if you want to make it like this one. But really, they're just fun to decorate, so kind of dig into all the stuff you have. But super easy just to put the designer paper. On this one, I left it plain. I thought it was a lot to have a lot of designer paper, so I kind of alternated that. Used a few of these things. This is just cut from the designer paper. And I have to say, this size is my favorite. And that will fit right into your 5x7 envelope, which Stampin' Up! Does not sell 5x7 envelopes. I don't know why, but I order these crumb cake ones online, and I kind of use them for everything. So I hope you give all these sizes a try, but especially this one right here, because it really was fun. Thanks for watching. Go make one. We'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.